This is the Say It Can't Gamer, and you are live with the MMA-holes.
Mixed martial a-holes. MMA-holes, 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 MMA-holes. You like to be a mixed martial a-hole. MMA-holes, 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 MMA-holes.
No way.
From the Queen Studios of New York, Artem Lobov proves that he is indeed the GOAT. Bare Knuckle recap, UFC recap, Korean Zombie back in action, Bellator recap, Fight Week with the MMA. Oh! Yeah!
Wonderful, wonderful.
Jesse, do you hear that?
What?
Do you hear that? It's the sound of silence. You know why?
Why?
Because there's no more MMA Hour. It's silent, Jesse. They're done.
Wonderful, wonderful.
All right.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to walk with you again.
That's right. The sound of silence, Jesse.
Yes.
This morning, Luke Thomas, or when it's afternoon, Luke Thomas had his MMA Hour. It was the year anniversary of him taking over the show.
Yes.
Super chat. Chop with the 99 cents. Thank you. Wonderful, wonderful.
Chop.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And if you didn't watch this, well, if you don't know of Luke Thomas or Ariel Helwani or any of these guys, basically Ariel Helwani started the MMA Hour and he exploded. You know, he did a great job over there with MMA fighting, then went over to ESPN and is killing it, killing the game. Luke Thomas is with MMA fighting and he took over the MMA Hour, did it for a year, said that he's done. That's it. No more MMA Hour, no more MMA Beat.
Right.
It's finito.
Finito.
Now, when we started this channel, we said that we were going to destroy traditional MMA media. This is going to be the new way of consuming your MMA information, autistically, dysfunctionally. That. You can't get that anywhere else. Anywhere else.
Yeah.
And we said that this traditional style of media is just going to collapse, and there's going to be a whole new front, a new phase, a new sheriff in town, a mystical sheriff in town. That's right. The Mystical and JBH have taken over the game right now. No more MMA Hour. That's it. Now, shout out to Ariel Helwani for doing his thing. If you want to see that normal stuff and you want to see those interviews, he does a great job. Ariel's doing his thing. But no more Luke Thomas with that. Now, I'm sure he's going to pop up somewhere else. And honestly, I think that he's going to do his own thing. He doesn't want to work for the man, Jesse.
I agree 100%, actually.
Or do you think he's going to ESPN?
No. Yeah.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo,
Whoa.
motherfuckers.
Just a boo. There you go.
Thomas was so damn boring. Pussy fart.
Pussy fart. Who came in with that? Was that
Master Mac.
Yeah, it's Master Mac that came in. He broke our donation. Look at that. It just says boo.
No, it says boring.
Oh, boring. All right, there you go. Yeah.
Luke Thomas was so damn boring.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pussy fart.
Just ridiculous. But yeah, so he's done, and I'm sure he's going to do his own thing, whether it's with ESPN. Maybe he's going to join ESPN. I don't think that's the case. I think he's going to do his own.
It wouldn't
shift.
surprise me if he joined ESPN.
Tucker Baker coming in.
Y'all need more guns if this is gonna be a cult.
It's already a fucking cult.
This is a fucking cult. What are you talking about? Just sip on your drink and let's all die together.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Tonight we should just play the Luke Thomas Wonderful, Wonderful, right? Maybe we should. No other Wonderful, Wonderful. Just
Wonderful, wonderful.
Luke Thomas Wonderful.
I'm down
Wonderful.
with that.
All right. Well, hopefully he he picks up and does fine. But yeah, it's boring. It is boring to talk mixed martial arts when you have a crazy chat room like this over here and across the internet. You have psychopaths inside a chat that love this sport but love to have fun, and that's
love to be paid attention to.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, Jesse. That is all it's about. It's about fun. It's about MMA. It's about the MMA holes. So from this point on, we've only been doing this for a little over 2 years, and our 3-year anniversary is in August 22nd. So big things to come, my friends. Big things to come. Drop a wonderful, wonderful in the chat, because this weekend, the GOAT did it, Jesse. The GOAT did it. Artem Lobov defeated Paulie Malignaggi in bare knuckle boxing. Now that's all settled into your brain, Jess. How do you feel about this glorious occasion?
I'm not surprised, motherfuckers. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah, Jesse's not surprised. And why should you be surprised, right? Why should you be surprised? Bare knuckle boxing, Artem Lobov. We said it before. You take the gloves off the hands of the greatest striker in the history of combat sports. Of course, you're going to get this outcome. Now, when we watched it live, right? We did a live reaction to it. We were live for like 7 hours.
Yeah.
When we consumed it in our eyeballs, I thought if it was just boxing rules, I did believe that Paulie did enough to win this fight. But I believe they got the decision right because this is bare knuckle. And I have to remind myself here, this is not boxing that we consume. This is bare knuckle boxing. It's a whole different thing. And Artem was more aggressive. He landed more significant strikes, did more damage. So I think they got it right. Do you think they got it right?
Yes. Yes, I did. I was a little bit shocked, though, because I thought that the judges were going to lean a little more towards Paulie.
You thought? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think they got it right.
So what do you think in the chat? Did they get it right? And I say yes. Yes, sir. And now Artem is indeed the GOAT. He solidified it. He showed that MMA is greater than boxing. A lot of people are triggered by this little thing over here, but I don't give a shit. I don't care. Artem saved the MMA fans. Paulie Malignaggi threw everyone under the bus, and Artem shoved that bus up your ass. Let's see what the chat says.
Taylor 2 says, my stream almost died during that fight, bro. Wrath of a Raider says, my BBC is in pain, LOL. So rub it out. Andrew says, hello, Sean, 2 joints, Mike S, Uncle Creepy Infinite, and Michael Anzalone. Matt Geiger says, morning from the island of Guam. 2 joints says, JBH has after sex hair. It's true.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Let's check it out. Is this your after sex hair?
Yes.
All right. Beautiful.
Yes, sir. Hugh Nim says, Artem for the president of Kyrgyzstan. Henry Sosa says, were the gloves altered? Pulse Reloaded says, you are acting like you forgot about Maymac.
Maymac doesn't count. It doesn't count anymore. They took the gloves off. It was fist to face. It was pure combat. And Paulie Malignaggi proved that boxing sucks. And it's all about the MMA. Now, Dan Hardy made a good point today. He made a point about the boxers and their gloves. And, Dan Hardy, you can say what you want about him, but sometimes he throws some good things out there. And he said that boxers, when they put their hands in the gloves, it's like this, right? And if you're listening on Podbean and iTunes, of course you are, it's like a C shape with your hands. And MMA fighters with the 4-ounce gloves, their hands are tight like a rock. Their hands are made for this. Boxers, the reason why their hands break so much is because it's like this. It's a cup. It's a C. And, Paulie has some fragile hands. A lot of people said Paulie's hands are going to break. And what happened? He broke his right hand and could only throw the jab. So that was a problem for Malignaggi. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Stone hands, stone head. Artem Lobov gets the win. Now, after watching another bare knuckle boxing, Jesse, are you more stoked? Do you love it even more? Do you like it the same? What do you think?
I'm always excited for another card for BKFC. I think Artem is a huge draw, and I think a lot of people can agree with that. And even the president of Bare Knuckle was talking about it at the post-fight press conference that that Artem is becoming the draw now. And Artem was saying how he was a prize fighter and he'll kind of fight at any promotion and all this, but he does have a contract, and I think that alone brings other MMA fighters who are super hyped up and sort of make BKFC a lot more exciting.
That's right, and wonderful, wonderful. I think Val got timed out by accident. Sorry about that, Val. I'm not sure why that happened, but hope you're wonderful, wonderful. And I hope everyone is wonderful, wonderful. So Bare Knuckle FC goes down. You had Bellator, you had the UFC, And it was a long-ass show. What were we on for, like 7+ hours? That was insane. How do you feel after doing a long, swole, sexy stream?
Fantastic. I'm just ready to talk about the rest of the fights, to be quite honest.
Yeah, well, it was fantastic. We had a nice show. We made some new friends, over 300 subscribers that night, so that's wonderful.
Wonderful.
But Bellator started the day off, and it's a mess. Like, that overseas stuff, I like the fact that they have events all over the place, but the fact that they do not show it live, and then when you try to consume the replay or you just don't know where to watch it, it's just a disaster. And we missed the Gallagher versus Paul Daly fight because we were trying to watch it live. We're trying to find a way to watch this thing live. We don't want to watch a replay because it gets spoiled, especially doing a live show. You know, we have a chat over here that's just going to throw it out there. Or if you go on your phone, you can get an alert and boom, it's ruined. So MMA should be live. Bellator, you're doing a shitty job. A shitty job. The sport needs to be live. But with that being said, Gegard lost his belt.
Yes.
Are you surprised?
No. I sort of, like, part of me kind of expected it to happen. I mean, you've got an undefeated fighter.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
We got Manny C coming in.
I actually really enjoyed the Paul versus Artem fight. I thought it was fantastic. However, I wish they would take away those stupid wrist straps. They hold the wrist in place and help you hit harder, which defeats the purpose of bare knuckle.
All right. Before we get, and thank you, Manny C, for the donation. Before we go over to Bellator, we're going to touch base on Bellator very quickly over here because I think the night should be spent around bare knuckle. Especially that bare knuckle has taken everyone's conversation. This sport that's only been around for a year has completely dominated the news. Now, talk about the wraps. They introduced these wraps on their hands. I guess it's to protect their wrists.
I also think it gives them a little more, like structure, because if you think about it, if it's like any other street fight, they're going to break their wrists, their knuckles, like anything can be broken. I think I can understand why you think it's unfair, but you also have to remember that if without those, I have a feeling those fights wouldn't last as long and they'd be far less entertaining.
Well, the reason why the wraps are there is to protect. That's what it's there for. It's for them so they don't break their wrists and get serious damage to their hands, because that's their moneymaker, right? But on the other side of things, you do have to think that the impact is going to be stronger, on the face of the opponent. I don't know if we have the picture of Chris Lieben.
I think that's what makes the fight a little more fun. And Sean Hart made a good point. The knuckles are still bare. It is still bare knuckle.
Yeah.
It's just they just have a little more support on the wrist. And I don't think there's really anything wrong with that, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, no, you're protecting the fighter. The only thing that I could understand is, maybe it might inflict more damage to the face of the other opponent. And your face.
I like that.
No, but I'm talking brain damage. Think about it. Now they're getting hit with a stronger force. I mean, this could be more impact, to the skull. And yes, it's gonna, their face.
They know why they're getting into the ring.
It's funny that they let me protect their wrists, right? And fuck their faces and their heads where their brains are. That it's a weird thing. Like, why are they so concentrated on the wrist and not the face, the head? I don't know. Nor do I care. Like you said, Jesse, fuck it, right? But I mean, it's just fun to watch, and so far no one's been hurt. Lacerations, some pretty bad cuts we've been seeing with bare knuckle, and it's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna become more vicious.
Well,
I think
I saw for the medical suspensions that Paulie Malignaggi was on the list for suspended indefinitely.
Yeah. Well, we've been seeing a lot of that lately within mixed martial arts as well. I think they're just trying to be safe with them. Well, Paulie Malignaggi doesn't matter because that's it. He's done. There's no coming back. He got his
30 seconds of fame. Now he's out.
He came back. He got resurrected, and apparently he got 7 figures. Like, that's what Luke Thomas was saying today. A lot of rumors were spread around that he got 7 figures for that fight, which is insane. I don't know how the hell bare knuckle pulled that out of their ass.
I don't know if the promotion could really afford to pay him that much. I'm sure he got paid a lot. I don't know about 7 figures.
This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that they said, let's take a hit with this one. That's what I think. I think they have some big investors, and like, let's pull Paulie Malignaggi over there. We're going to get crazy attention. This is not going to be a profitable event. We're gonna take a hit in this one. We're gonna put Paulie on the top of that card versus Artem Lobov. Artem Lobov has the whole GOAT bullshit. Yeah, Paulie Malignaggi with the Connor connections. This is gonna be all over the place. And well played. Even if they took a hit for this event, their next event is gonna be huge. Now they don't have to worry about spending the big money on a headliner. I mean, people are interested. You know, you got our attention. The hook's in the mouth. We want to see more Bare Knuckle. So I think well played. Really, seriously, well played. August 10th is the next fight. I'm in. I don't even care who the fuck's fighting. I'm watching. You know? It's going to be interesting to see who they put up top, but I don't care. Let me know in the chat. Will you be watching Bare Knuckle August 10th for their next event?
Life and Logic says Paulie deserved all those cuts on his face. Bare Knuckles is no joke. Stalio says Sebastian Gutierrez, what are you talking about, bro? That dude says, just kidding. Jumanji Warlord says, just keep it a shit show. Pulse Reloaded says, maybe. Justin Jr. says, I will. Michael Anzalone, yes. Justin Jr. says, Jason Knight, main event?
Well, Jason Knight is lobbying for the rematch with Artem. I don't see how that makes sense. I mean, I understand it was a close fight, but I feel there's going to be a different dance partner for Artem. I think they're going to drag someone over from the UFC again. That's an interesting name to be a dance partner. I don't know if the rematch is... I feel it should happen. You know, it was such a close fight. It should happen, but I don't think that should be next for Artem.
Manny C says, I'll be watching golf. Chop says Lobov won because he had a bigger cock.
Okay. Connor knows.
Irish Wristwatch says illegal stream is for real winners. Two Joint says no one's uglier than Luke Thomas. Internals dancing in the chat. NH says
Wonderful.
yes, I will be watching another Bare Knuckle because it's my new love. Brian Burgess says quit watching MMA, just watch the holes.
Yeah.
Stalio 2 says Sebastian, you love the Muslim bro. Internal says cricket. Jackson Black says Artem versus Gaethje.
All right, we're going to get back into Bare Knuckle, of course, but I just want to discuss the other events real quick, and we go right into the news. So Musashi did lose his belt. Jessie says she wasn't surprised, and a lot of people did pick Lovato Jr. because of the situation of Musashi saying he just wants to fight for money.
Yeah, I didn't seem as invested anymore in the sport.
Yeah, the heart is not in the game anymore, and it's interesting. I mean, 45-7-2, Musashi, he's done everything he had to do. He just wants to get paid, and I can't blame him. Lovato Jr. looked great. I mean, the fascinating part about that fight was Lovato takes the first 2 rounds. Musashi comes back the next 2 rounds. We got 5th round wins it all, and Lovato Jr. just dominated him. It was a really good back and forth. It was interesting to watch, and nice job by Lovato Jr. Like I said, the card, you know, it was a mess. You wanted to watch it live, and you couldn't. It was just a disaster. Someone that stands out is Paul Daly had a nice win over Eric Silva. James Gallagher said he had a huge panic attack.
Oh, we'll talk about that, though.
And we'll discuss that. But he did get the win, and blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's go over to the UFC real quick so we can get into the news. And the UFC had the Korean Zombie getting it done. Back in business. People are loving it. Korean Zombie, which I think is great for the weight class. I think Korean Zombie getting this win throws his name in the mix. It sweetens the pot when it comes to the 145ers. Gets the win the first round with, I mean, he wasted no time over Moicano. What do you think about Korean Zombie's performance, Jessie?
I think it's I loved it. I mean, it was what a great comeback for the Korean Zombie, and also I find it fascinating because even Renato Moicano's corner, they said that they were baffled by the loss. They didn't expect it at all, and like it was just something that they didn't see coming. So I think that just adds to the excitement of the fact that he won. Plus, you've got all of his supporters there that night, and they were all holding the Korean flags, and it was an epic win for the Korean Zombie, I think.
We said it a couple of times. He's only 32 years old. Even though he's been around the game for a little bit, he's only 32 years old, and I like to see him in the mix. Maybe get one more win, and who knows, maybe you throw a title at him. You know, that would be great. So good job by Korean Zombie. Other than that, the card was a lot of meh. You know, Andre Ewell versus Dos Santos was a really good fight. Andre Ewell getting the win. Randy Brown getting the win, the finish in the 3rd round over Barberena. And, you know, Andrea Lee did a good job. Kevin Holland gets the win. Dan Ige gets the win. But when you scroll down, Luis Pena looked pretty good. Yeah, he looked very good as well. AKA had a pretty decent night. This guy over here, Duran Win, opened up the card. And the first fight of the preliminaries gets the fight of the night. Win versus Spicely. Spicely comes in on short notice, tries to save a fight, gets in there, and Devon Win, hello.
Wonderful.
Duran Win, who looks like a mini Cormier. He's 5'5", for God's sakes, but has power in his hands, got that wrestling. Looks like he can be someone that would be an interesting prospect for down the road. So keep your eye on Duran Win. All right, Jesse. We're going to move over to the MMA-holes.com. A fiery show tonight. The MMA Hour, MMA beat are done, but we're going nowhere, right, Connor? Yes, sir. All right, what do we got?
According to MMA Fighting, Artem Lobov puts Paulie Malignaggi rivalry to bed, admonishes of poor refereeing in the fight. After exchanging more than a few explicative-laced tirades, a slap and spitting incident, Artem Lobov is ready to put his rivalry with Paulie Malignaggi behind him. Now, it's probably much easier for the former UFC featherweight to do that after defeating Malignaggi by unanimous decision in their main event brawl at Bare Knuckle, but either way, he left the ring with a newfound respect for his opponent. For all the bad blood that boiled over in the lead-up to the fight, Lobov complimented Malignaggi for stepping into the ring with him to do battle the same way he was willing to spend 2 separate sparring sessions with his teammate Conor McGregor as he prepared to face Floyd Mayweather in 2017. Those sparring sessions led to the disdain shared between McGregor and Malignaggi, and by extension drew Lobov into it as well. Lobov said afterwards that he hasn't had a chance to speak with McGregor since the fight ended, but in his mind, he put Malignaggi behind him for good. The two men even exchanged a hug in the ring and a high five on stage after the fight was finished. If there was one person who got under Lobov's skin on Saturday night, it was the referee from the main event, who was constantly breaking up the clinch during the fight rather than allowing the athletes to work from the position. In one particular exchange, Lobov finally caught Malignaggi against the ropes, where he began unloading with a huge barrage of shots that opened several cuts on his opponent's face. Unlike traditional boxing, the clinch is allowed in the rules in bare knuckle boxing, which is why Lobov implemented that as a key to his strategy to beat the more technical boxer in Malignaggi. Regardless of the referee, Lobov was able to get the job done and earn the unanimous decision victory as he moved to 2-0 in bare knuckle boxing with more fights planned in the future.
So there we go. We got the news on the MMA-holes.com, gathering it from all over the interwebs. Check it out, the MMA-holes.com. Artem Lobov, he's putting the rivalry to bed. So it's interesting how these two, I mean, you know, these fighters, no matter how much trash talk there is, and there was a lot leading up to this fight, they gave their respect. Paulie bowed, you know, and he wasn't happy with the decision, but Paulie was, he was, you know, with himself not being happy with the decision, still being able to be humble in the loss was something you can say.
I guess you could call it humble, but I don't really consider it humble. It's funny because, like I said before, with all the trash talk at the pre-fight press conference, they even said that they would never respect each other ever, even if the fight was over. Yeah, and then afterward they showed respect, which was cool. But Paulie wasn't exactly humble, which is where we're going to lead into with the next one. Is he has some excuses, and he's not going out with a solid heart. He's going out as a sore loser almost.
Yeah, and I watched the press conference. I watched both Artem and Paulie. You know, here's the thing: you can talk a lot of shit, and it's fine. You know, you move on. But when you spit on somebody, like when it got to that. That was real sketch. You know, that was really sketch by Paulie. So the fact that happened, I mean, the fact that Artem just still allowed the apology and was good with it, I mean, that says something about him, you know? Because, I mean, when you spit on someone, that's like crossing every line. You can say whatever you want to someone's face, sticks and stones, all that bullshit. But you fucking put bodily fluid on another human being, you're getting fucked up. It doesn't make any sense, and that's what happened there. But Artem, you know, he did what he did, and he was humble about it. Now, Jesse's going to get to the article of the press conference. And it goes both ways. I don't think it was that bad. Watching it live, I don't think Paulie was that bad. He did defend himself, but let's get to that story.
Yeah. All right, according to MMA Junkie, Paulie Malignaggi is baffled by the BKFC 6 loss to Artem Lobov, saying Bush League judges scored blood. Paulie Malignaggi was not happy with the judges' scorecards after suffering the unanimous decision loss to Artem in his BKFC debut this past Saturday. He said, quote, "I pretty much got the worst of everything. I got a fucking decision. I made a tic-tac-toe board out of his face with my left hand. If you look at my face, I got hit literally in one clinch. I literally in one clinch got hit. That's it. And I took a couple of shots in that one clinch that he got me. I thought I did a pretty good job in the clinch. Other than that, and really nothing else landed. I was very comfortable boxing. The judges gave Malignaggi the first 2 rounds and scored the final 3 for Lobov. Malignaggi continued by saying, I think I landed more jabs and check hooks in the second half of the fight than the first part of the fight. Ironically, the judges gave me the first 2 rounds, then after 3, they didn't give me a round. Again, Bush League, because I got cut in round 3, so once the Bush League shit came in, they only scored my blood. Malignaggi said he broke his right hand in the second round, but felt like he still did enough to win the fight. He believes that the only shots Lobov were able to get off were in the clinch, And other than that, he controlled the majority of the fight. He said, quote, he was getting outboxed very easily, but now I was cut, and clearly the Bush League judges scored the blood and not the actual fight. As the fight was winding down, I was like, this ain't so bad. I was controlling the action. I was controlling the tempo. I was so calm. I think if I had been left with 2 hands and hadn't broken it in round 2, I could have got off some really fresh combinations. I got in my groove as the fight went on. I just only had 1 hand. The frustration over the outcome left Malignaggi wondering if it was a one and done. He felt like the inexperience of the judges cost him the fight and that everybody thought he won. He said, quote, I probably would have kept going if I won this fight.
And I don't believe that. But all right, so here's his face. All right, we're all looking at his face right now. And this is him in one exchange, right? And you can see what happens. You know, the game plan by Artem was to get him in the clinch. And, you know, I wasn't too familiar with, you know, what you could and couldn't do with bare knuckle. We're learning as well as a majority of people are learning. But you can grab the back of the head and you can tee off on him. That was Artem's game plan. And every time he went to do that, the ref broke it up immediately. Like he did not, you know, not allow that much. And you saw Artem complaining. And while the fight was going live, I couldn't understand why Artem. I was like, what is he complaining about? I don't get it. I don't see anything wrong here. But that was the reason.
And that was sort of what the first article covered, was that Artem was upset about how the referee handled the clinches.
Mm-hmm. So regardless, Artem still gets the win by a decision.
Super chat.
We got Life and Logic.
What happened to the Italian warrior?
Well, this happened to him. He got pieced up. He lost. Thank you, Life and Logic. Appreciate the donation.
Wonderful, wonderful.
So now the excuses come in, right? And I mean, breaking your head is a legit excuse, right? So now he can only throw the left hand.
Yeah.
Regardless of the case, it's not. What is Artem supposed to do? Give up? You know? I mean, you broke your hand.
It's
it sucks
annoying
for you.
because he's like, oh, I only got hit in 1 clinch, but he has cuts all over his fucking face. And it's funny, I saw a meme that someone made with that quote saying, I only got hit once, but I have cuts all over my face. It's actually true. If you look at his post-fight appearance, he didn't just get hit once or in 1 clinch. It's impossible. The amount of damage on his face shows otherwise. So I think that's why, to me, I just look at it as a bunch of excuses. He went out as a sore loser. If he had kept his mouth shut, I was like, you know what? I fucking lost, man. I just lost. And not made any excuses. I think there would have been a little more respect for him.
What I love about this bare knuckle sport is, yes, it is boxing, but the way the rules are a little adjusted, the way the ring is smaller, it does favor a mixed martial artist. Like we said before with the whole glove situation, you know, mixed martial artists deal with smaller gloves. They don't have to use the padding of the gloves. They don't have the ability to use the padding of the gloves to block their face.
Yeah.
You know, Paulie looked quick on the feet. He was dipping and dodging. Both fighters looked hesitant in the beginning of the fight. But as the fight progressed, you can tell Artem was getting a little bit more comfortable. Was it because of the broken hand? It's very possible, but it doesn't make a difference. He broke his hand, and it is what it is. There's nothing, you know, what is Artem supposed to do? Put his hand behind his back and be like, now it's a fair fight?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that's an excuse, but it sucks for you. You know, you got brittle hands. You knew that coming into this, and it fucking failed you. It is what it is. But Artem Lobov beating Paulie Malignaggi. Now listening to the press conference, yeah, it did sound like he was throwing a lot of excuses out there. But he's going to ride off into the sunset. And for the most part, he was humble. He took everything back, and he was, you know, giving praise to Artem Lobov. So that's it. We are done with the Paulie Malignaggi era. That's it. He came back out of retirement, and now he's going to ride off into the sunset. And it looks like he made a decent amount of money. Now, what is next for Artem Lobov?
Well, I think he's going to finish out his contract with BKFC, and I think whatever promotion offers him more money is where he's going to go. I don't think we're going to see the end of Lobov yet. I think we've got a little bit left in him, you know, not just in BKFC. I think just anywhere, you know. So
Artem, they were asking Artem what he was going to do next, and he was like, I am a prize fighter now. I fight for the money, you know, and that's what he's going to be doing. But David Feldman's like, no, you're under contract, buddy. You're going to stay here. So I think he has 2 more fights.
Yeah, I think so.
Or something like that. So he'll fight out his contract, and good for Artem getting paid. Mm-hmm. You know, he was the butt of everyone's joke. Now everyone is throwing parades for this guy and singing his praises. It's wild. It's a wild story, but now Artem Lobov is the bare knuckle king. And speaking of knuckles, I want you to drop it in the air like you just don't care, because we got 50 likes. You guys ready? Let's punch. I've got 50 likes. You've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes. MMA-holes 50 likes. I've got 50 likes. You've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes. MMA-holes 50 likes. I've got 50 likes. You've got 50 likes. We've got 50 likes. MMA-holes 50 likes.
Yeah, the dislikes can choke on a dick.
It's good. On a Bare Knuckle Monday, it's good to beat up the ceiling. Thank you for the likes.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And that is why MMA fighting is gone. Fuck that.
All right.
Wonderful, wonderful.
According to ESPN.com, sources say that UFC is nearing a Miller versus Guida bout in August. The UFC, is close to finalizing a lightweight bout between two veteran crowd favorites in Jim Miller and Clay Guida, according to multiple sources.
How old are these guys? What are we doing?
Bout agreements have not yet been signed, but the 155-pound fight is expected to be made official shortly. It will take place during the UFC Fight Night event August 3rd at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey, and air on ESPN. As hard as it is to believe, Miller and Guida have never shared the octagon. Miller has made 32 UFC appearances dating to 2008. Guida has made 27 in his UFC career that dates all the way back to 2006. Fighting out of Whippany, New Jersey, Miller, who's 30-13, has won 2 of his past 3, but at this point in his career, the results almost come secondary to the longevity he displayed. He's fought the likes of Anthony Pettis, Poirier, Alves, Sanchez, Cerrone, Diaz, and Henderson. Similarly, Guida, who's 35-18, seems content to hold out for the meaningful fights rather than focus on the 155-pound rankings. The Illinois native is coming off a decision win against BJ Penn in May. Other opponents on his resume include Ortega, Mendez, Maynard, Henderson, Pettis, Rafael Dos Anjos, Diaz, and Melendez. The UFC has not yet announced a main event for the UFC Fight Night event on August 3rd.
You know, I mean, first of all, Miller is going to destroy Clay Guida. He is going to mutilate. Miller's been looking pretty good as of late, but they're both very long in the tooth. And, all right, that's the story. By the way, we were talking about Artem and Paulie Malignaggi, and we won some money on Lord Artem Lobov. Thank you, Artem, and thank you, BetDSI.
Just because you're not in Vegas doesn't mean you can't bet on MMA and UFC. BetDSI offers online wagering and has been paying winners for 20 years. Use the link in the description with promo code MMA-hole, all one word, and get up to 100% bonus match as well as $25 welcome bonus today. BetDSI also offers betting options for everything including NFL and NCAA football, NBA, NHL, UFC, and other major sports, politics, reality TV, esports, virtually everything. We play there ourselves and recommend BetDSI if you want to add some excitement to the fights or any other sports you are watching. Once again, go to BetDSI with the link in the description using promo code MMA-hole, all one word, and get this limited time 100% bonus offer as well as $25 welcome bonus and make some extra cash on the sports you know and love. It's only a game until you bet it at BetDSI.
That's right. It is.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And we put some bets on BetDSI, and thank you. We just actually placed a bet. Hey, Spider-Man. He's my favorite.
Spider-Man.
Welcome, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
He's a new sub. There we go. I like when Jesse just breaks into song. Look at you. It's like show tunes. You're like Hugh Jackman of the show.
I have a song for everything.
Yeah, this is like the new Jesse. When Jesse came over here, I had to fucking like drag the song out of her mouth. Now she just won't shut up at the songs. It's just song. Look at her. She loves it.
Would you like me to stop?
No. I'm just it's called razzling. All right. So BetDSI is where we put Artem Lobov bet, and thank you very much. We also dropped a bet on Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter. Amanda Nunes, she's got a very tough fight ahead of her, and that is why, there is a little bit of a lopsided spread over there. But we just put it out there. We went for it. Holly Holm, the preacher's daughter, against Amanda Nunes. Jesse, are you confident about this bet?
Yes.
You are?
No.
No! Jesse G. Hill. What's up, Jesse G. Hill? How you doing? Wonderful. I hope you're wonderful. But yeah, so you're not confident about this. Why?
I'm usually never confident about any bets you make. So
I tell you what, I'm on a tear.
Yeah.
Think about it. I lost. I did the risky one against Shevchenko, and then I covered it with Cejudo, so we won that. So realistically, the last 4 bets that I placed in a row, almost 5 bets, I think, we keep winning. It's unbelievable. BetDSI promo code MMA-hole. One more sponsor we want to talk about over here before we get back into the news. And thank you to all of our sponsors.
Timeless CBD sees a gap in the industry between quality and affordability. All of Timeless CBD's products are carefully handmade at their facility. Each and every batch is third-party tested. This is a CBD company that strives to make top-notch products at prices people can afford. Visit Timeless CBD with the link in the description and get your hands on only the best CBD products, such as full-spectrum oils, gummies, pain salves, freezes, BCAAs, and more. Use promo code MMA-hole, all one word, for up to 20% off of your entire order. We use Timeless CBD on a daily, and we haven't felt this good in years. We recommend Timeless CBD to anyone seeking treatment for numerous conditions. Once again, visit Timeless CBD with the link in the description and use promo code MMA-hole, all one word, and get up to 20% off of your entire purchase.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Timeless CBD is wonderful, wonderful, and I had the BCAAs today as I did my gym routine, and it was fantastic. I love it. So link in the description, get 20% off, MMA Hole. By the way, I see in the chat a lot of people are saying they were actually at the event. So let's talk to them after this donation. Matty C coming in.
Coming in late. True or false, the Artem vs. Paulie beef was fake, and if it was somewhat real, true or false, did the UFC ban Conor from attending and giving Bare Knuckle even more promotional juice?
Okay. So first of all, was it fake? I think any hype, any BS hype, is to get the fight going. When he spit on him, he went so over the line.
Yeah, I don't think it was fake.
So that wasn't fake, but I believe majority of it was. I really do. I think
and then if it wasn't fake, did the UFC ban Conor from giving them any more promotional value?
No. I think Conor just didn't want to go, to be honest. Life and logic.
JBH makes me want to whack it when she raps so sexy.
Oh. All right. So Jesse, you want to do a little freestyle rap for Life and Logic? About him?
I don't have anything freestyle off the top of my head.
Well,
I can give you some Eminem.
No. A freestyle is usually you make up a rap.
I know what freestyle. I just said I don't have any freestyle.
Okay. Well, if something spawns into your head.
No, I'm good.
Okay. There you go. All right. Thank you to the donations tonight. With 5 minutes left, we will do the Save the Show. Love to take phone calls tonight because, 3 events this Saturday. Lot to talk about. The Bare Knuckle thing is on fire. I do want to ask the chat, though. Were you at the event? I saw some people over there saying, talking about the crowd and who they watched it with. So let me know. Were you at the event? And if you weren't, what were your thoughts of Bare Knuckle FC?
Annie says, Van Chipman, hello. Sean Hart, style it freely. JBH. Strong Savage's freestyle about donuts. Ricardo Aguilar with the phone. 2 joins says, Kev from Chicago's on the line, Moss. That's it. Vicious Saito says, I wasn't, but UFC in Minneapolis this weekend, and I'm going to try and sneak it. Van Chipman says, hi, Ann. Sean Hart says, JBH, the last freestyle bender. Vicious says, with the fighters. 2 joins says, LOL, DS, MMA, donut holes. Share with the bros, never low. Omega Tide says, Cuts Glory. Van Chipman Savage. Jim Lay says, I've been to British Bare Knuckle. Grease says, don't answer that, Fuker. Infinite Conscious says, I'm bare knuckle boxing with fruit flies in my house.
Oh.
Wonderful.
And he says, Jeremiah was at the UFC event. Joe Rod, dude, Connor wasn't going to that inbred Walmart arena that BKFC held in. Come on now. Kainoda says, post proof of being at the event, a BKF event with ticket sub pics, or get the fuck out.
So Kainoda's he's not believing it. Or just drop it on the MMA-holes.com. If you have pictures of the event, we'd love to see them. All right, the MMA-holes.com is wonderful. And speaking of wonderful, let's get back into the news, JBH. It's so funny. We're so top-heavy with the news. We should just talk about the events because the news is shit tonight, huh? Eric Anders, fucking Clay Guida, right? It's crazy. It's so crazy how it's top-heavy. We'll probably go back into the events, but let's see what's the dilly with Eric Anders and his perm hair.
According to BJPen.com, Eric Anders believes the UFC wasn't interested.
Super chat.
Niall.
Would love to hear JBH spit the mighty Eminem.
Subscribe to Not the MMA Holes. And she'll Eminem
you would
all
love
night.
to hear it, but Moss never wants to hear it.
Well,
so.
we only have an hour, and we have a lot to talk about, and yeah.
According to BJPen.com, Eric Anders believes the UFC wasn't interested in Elias Theodoro's antics. After Elias Theodoro lost to Derek Brunson back at UFC Ottawa, he was released from the promotion. This news came as a surprise as the Canadian won 8-3 inside the octagon and was on the Ultimate Fighter winner. Yet, that was not enough to keep Theodoro around as his style was not the most entertaining. He was booed in his last 2 fights, and the UFC had seemingly seen enough. Although many like Joe Rogan don't understand why the Las Vegas-based promotion released Theodoro, Eric Anders, who fought the Canadian at UFC 231, believes he knows exactly why. He says, quote, "They booed him when he fought. I come to finish fights. That is what people like. At the end of the day, the UFC is a business. If you are getting booed and people don't care to see you fight, they don't have a reason to keep you. He's a good fighter, though. He has that tough style, went 8-3 in the promotion, tough winner. He had a great career in the UFC and will have a great career whenever he lands, should he continue to fight. I just don't think the UFC is interested in his style and his antics. I don't think I have been booed in any country. All my fights have been entertaining and they have a reason to keep me around. If you sell tickets, they have a reason to keep you. If people boo you and they don't want to see you fight, you are going to get cut at the earliest time they can."
All right, so there we go. Eric Anders chiming in on Theodoro. Yeah, Theodoro, I mean, he'll get a job somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know, more hair products or ring boy shit or other organizations. I don't know what happened to him. Like I said, in The Ultimate Fighter, he actually looked pretty decent, but I don't know, he just looks like shit. I'm not surprised they cut him. But it is what it is. All right, Jesse. Let's see what else we got in the news. Ngannou.
According to MMAnews.com, UFC heavyweight Francis Ngannou says he may test the waters with boxing. Francis Ngannou doesn't seem opposed to making a transition to boxing someday. Ngannou is set to collide with Junior Dos Santos this Saturday night on June 29th.
Donation.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
It is real.
Moss, did you see CHOO destroy Cuck Thomas? BTW, what are you betting with bonus money? Drop 100, you cheap fuck. Follow my bets and get win. Hashtag sodomy is a crime, just don't get underdog hungry. That's how the coons go broke on BetDSI.
There you go. By the way, yeah, we dropped 100 on there, and then we've been playing with bonus money to release it. So, yeah, we've been doing that. But when it comes to, what was he saying before that? Chael Sonnen, we did watch that video. And let me know in the chat if you saw that. We'll get into the Ngannou story real quick. But we both watched it, and Chael just laced into not only Luke Thomas, but other people within MMA media. And conveniently, Luke Thomas says he's going today. He's leaving, the MMA Hour. I mean, there is, like I said before, there is a new style of how you consume MMA, right? There are new personalities. There's a new way of distributing the news, right? There's a cringy style. There's a fun style. Now you have fighters that retire and are giving real breakdowns. Like Luke Thomas, he's knowledgeable. He's a very knowledgeable guy. But it's hard to listen to a guy that's not a UFC fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like he spends 45 minutes with his MMA analyst thing, and he's not a UFC fighter. He doesn't fight in Bellator. Whether he trains, I mean, it doesn't. He's giving advice to professional athletes. It just boggles my mind. He spends 45 minutes on it. I don't get it. Now, if Chael Sonnen did it, I would listen, because Chael Sonnen's been in there. He's been in the big cage, not fucking Luke. So Chael has every right to be upset, and Chael lit him on fire. Absolutely lit him on fire. Now, apparently, Luke is going to come back. He's going to make a video. He looked a little triggered this morning, so he's going to make a video going back at Chael. But what were your thoughts on the whole Chael Sonnen thing?
I thought what was interesting was that Luke said that everything Chael said in his video was able to be, verifiably disproven or something like that. Like, apparently he can prove Chael wrong with every fact that he included in his video, and that he, like you said, he will. So I thought that was a little fascinating, because Chael seemed pretty convincing to me, and if I had to choose a side, I mean, I like Luke. I think he's a good guy, but I would probably lean more towards Chael, given that exchange. Even
if Chael was wrong, I would side with Chael. And we met Luke. I mean, I met both of them, both nice guys. But I would side with Chael because he's the fighter. He's competed, And this is the phase. These fighters are going to have their own podcasts, and you're going to listen to them because they actually have been inside an octagon. They've been under the big lights. They've made the walk to that cage. These are people you listen to. If you want fucking just MMA news and horsing around, you got the MMA-holes, the home of the casual fans. That's us. We're armchair quarterbacks over here. And we have legit fighters watching us. It's unbelievable. UFC fighters are hanging with us. Tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Justin Sumter will be live on this show talking about his return to the Contender Series. We have actual fighters that watch us. We are the fun, laid-back place. So you have the fun, laid-back place in the MMA-holes, where we just bullshit and horse around. Then you got the MMA fighters that actually have been in the cage. And now you have the Luke Thomases that kind of are in limbo. There's no home for these guys. So they got to carve their own path. They have to make their own lane. I mean, it sucks for them. High five, Jesse.
For what?
Because we're the best.
Wonderful, wonderful.
That's right. I see a lot of people like Chael Sonnen, but let's go back into the Francis Ngannou story.
Ngannou is set to collide with Junior Dos Santos this Saturday night, June 29th. The heavyweight tilt will headline UFC Minneapolis. The two were scheduled to meet at UFC 239 on July 6th, but UFC Minneapolis needed a new main event when Tyron Woodley pulled out of his rematch with Robbie Lawler. Ngannou flirts with the idea of professional boxing. UFC color commentator Joe Rogan has said that Ngannou has so much power that he may be able to connect on elite boxing heavyweights. Speaking to Helen Yee, the Predator said he may be able to make that transition. He said, quote, "So first of all, boxing is my background. Boxing was my first love for a very long time. For more than 10 years, I have been loving boxing without even knowing what MMA was. Then I get in MMA by opportunity, but still boxing lover. So I think at some point, I can end up to cross paths with that dream. Sooner or later, it might happen." Ngannou is coming off of 2 big wins, and neither of them made it to the 1-minute mark. He stopped Curtis Blades and Cain Velasquez in a matter of seconds. They will tell if he can carry that success over to Dos Santos' fight.
And that's right. This fight is this weekend. Ngannou versus Dos Santos. I got a little jumbled up. I thought UFC 239 was this weekend, but nope. We have Ngannou versus Dos Santos going down. I think this is going to be fun. I really do. Now, it's another fight night. All right, let's look at the card. We haven't really taken too much of a peek of it. You have Benavidez versus Formiga. 125 is still alive and kicking. Poor Benavidez, always knocking on that door right there for a belt. Henry Cejudo, he did beat him, so that should be a rematch, right? But Cejudo is going to be out until 2020. So him versus Formiga, tough opponent, and it should be an interesting scrap. Damian Maia not going anywhere versus Rocco Martin. Martin and Roosevelt Roberts versus Vince Pitchell. We have Drew Dober versus Marco Polo Reyes. So is it a star-studded main card? No, but it is free. And man, the main event, that should be one that doesn't go the distance. Right, Jess?
Right.
Looking at this fight right now, Ngannou Dos Santos. I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is going to be, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Francis Ngannou.
All right. Now, if I put anyone against Francis Ngannou, you're always going Francis, right?
Always.
So who would be... All right, let's say John Jones goes up.
Francis Ngannou.
Still picking Ngannou. Okay.
Absolutely.
DC
Okay.
fights Francis Ngannou. So say DC beats Stipe, and Ngannou has some performance over here. And
Francis Ngannou.
So Francis Ngannou over Daniel Cormier. Now, Daniel Cormier is going to fight Stipe Miocic. It looks like he's going to retire, but I have a feeling they're going to throw a boatload of money. And John Jones has been doing the interview scene, and he's said that he's not against going up to heavyweight. So basically,
I would be if I was John Jones.
Well,
He'd
money
get
talks.
destroyed up there.
Okay. Now, did you see the size of Jones against Dos Santos? Santos. Did you see him?
No.
They stood next to each other, and let me pull the picture up right now.
When was this?
It was today. There was I think it was today. Well, he was doing the media round, so I'm assuming it was today. But the Thor Hammer Santos. I'm going to pull this picture up so you can see both of them. Actually, I wish I can have the face off. But they stood next to each other, and John Jones towered over him.
Really?
Absolutely towered. I thought Santos was a big dude.
Huh.
But John Jones made him look like a fucking manlet. So I'm
How
like...
tall is Santos?
I don't know. We got to look this up. There's their poster. That's a weird poster. It's different. All right, let's go to the tail of the tape. Let's see. Let's go over. Actually, we'll go to Tapology. Was it UFC 239? All right. As I'm knocking into my mic. Let's go tap. There we go. Good old Tapology. Can't go wrong with the tap. All right, here we go. It's an interesting poster, right? That's kind of like a cartoony vibe.
Looks like
to
Kill
it.
Bill.
All right. It does have a Kill Bill look. All right, so here we go. Wow, Santos is 35 years old, too. I thought he was younger. He's a heavy underdog, plus 400.
Oh, he's only 4 inches taller.
Yeah, 4 inches taller. It did not look like that when they were standing next to each other. I mean, 4 inches is pretty significant.
Yeah.
In height. And John Jones dwarfed him.
Well, John Jones dwarfs a lot of people.
Mm.
I mean, 6'4".
Oh, okay. Sean Hart says it's on the MMA-holes.com. Let me check it out. This website's the best. Look at this. Just go over to the MMA-holes.com and shit happens. shit goes down over
Shite
there.
happens.
That's right. Sean Hart said he put it over here. There's Jimmy Manua. Let's see. Sean Hart coming through strong. Let's see if we can find it. Oh, there we go. I mean, look at this. Actually, you know what? Oh, I want to play the video. Let's see. I'm going to find... Whoa, explosions, Jesse. Explosions. Let me just pull up. Oh, here we go. All right, ready?
Oh, he doesn't... he didn't really... I mean, yeah, he's definitely shorter. I don't know if he dwarfed him.
Well, you got these words in a way, but you kind of get the idea.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely bigger.
Look at this. I mean, are you kidding me? I thought Santos, I mean, I thought he was a lot taller. John Jones, I mean, he... Now, height doesn't really mean shit when it comes to these fights, and Santos has some bombs in his hand, but he's going to get mutilated.
You think so?
Oh.
Gnome says, I don't know how I got here. I was watching Cejudo versus Reyes.
Really? How'd you
stumbled upon us.
How'd you wind up over here?
Well, welcome.
Which
to the
one
best
was he?
community in the best MMA community.
Gnomes Amak? Or Amak?
Amak.
What's up, Gnomes?
I just stumbled upon us.
You made the biggest mistake of your life by clicking on that link.
Yeah, you'll never leave now.
You're cursed with us. By the way, what do you think about Lord Lobov? He made the wall, Jesse.
Yeah.
He's graced the wall. Do you feel like the wall's that much better?
Lord Gopov.
Yeah, Gopov is up there. Yeah. All right. So there you go. Who do you think is going to win this fight? John Jones or Santos? Is there any believers in Santos?
Of course, Jones.
Are they out there? Let me know in the chat. Jones or Santos?
I was listening to Dan Hardy today, and he was talking about how some of these new up-and-comers in the light heavyweight division could be the kryptonite for Jones. He didn't use those exact words, but that's kind of where he was going, saying that everyone is on the Jones train, and rightfully so. But he has a feeling that some of these newer fighters, they're kind of blinded, because they're just looking to get that title. They're not really looking at who they're fighting, so they kind of put that shadowed face over Jones, and they just kind of look at it as just another fighter, and that's their advantage.
Do you believe anyone on this roster is going to beat John Jones?
I believe Dan Hardy has some pretty good insight when it comes to
come on,
analyzing fights. At
light heavyweight, there is not one single fighter right now on this roster that I believe is going to beat John Jones. Now, you can say the Johnny Walkers. Who's the other kid that had the big fight?
Ratchik.
Yeah, Ratchik. You can say him. You can say, okay, maybe, but there's no clear cut. All right, this guy is the guy that's going to take this motherfucker out. There's no guy unless he goes up to heavyweight. But light heavyweight, how could you bet against John Jones?
I definitely think Johnny Walker could hold some potential there.
We hope Johnny Walker could be that guy, but that's not going to happen. He's on another level. He's from outer space, John Jones. He's from the picogram, planet Pico. That's where John Jones is from. Let's see in the chat what they say about Bones.
Strong Savage says Dylan Dennis will beat John Jones.
Oh, that's true. I didn't think about him.
Chop says Johnny Walker. Hunim says Ratchet Conchiro. Jones is a vicious beast. Brian Rogers says because he broke it down too far. Ann H says LOL drunk. That dude says Dylan Dennis can a la Vitor versus Jones. Hunim says fun fact, Johnny Walker's real name is Walker Johnny. Life and Logic says Jones is a cheater, y'all. Fodder thinks a savage beast Conchiro. Internal says goat. Infinite Conscious says Jones supports abortion. Drunk Savage says cocaine will defeat John Jones one day. Two Joint says Jones is a cheater. Fook him.
You know what's funny? Like Chael Sonnen retires, right? And everyone talks about his steroids. That's what everyone talks about, right? Because he didn't win a belt. But when John Jones retires, I have a feeling not many people are going to be talking about steroids. They'll be like, he's the greatest of all time, this and that. Everyone's going to forget about the steroids. I have a feeling. John Jones always gets a pass. He always gets it.
Not from me.
Well, not from you, but majority of the MMA audience. It's unbelievable. We've seen him at events cheered after running over pregnant women, after just making mistake after mistake and coming back and still getting raving. Everyone cheering him on. It's crazy. He's like the exception to the rule. And he still has picograms in him. And how is he allowed to fight? And now Sean O'Malley's not allowed to fight.
Well, Sean O'Malley needs to have a court date a court date or something like that. A hearing.
So you think he gets off? You think on John Jones?
I think he's going to have a hearing and they're going to look at the John Jones case and be like, well, it would be unfair for us to, penalize Sean O'Malley and we're not penalizing John Jones, even though John Jones has more of it in his system. So they're probably going to let Sean O'Malley off.
Yeah, but Sean O'Malley's an Irish screech and John Jones is the BBC.
Stop it.
Maybe it only works for the BBC. I don't know.
Oh, good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to start this clock over here to save the show. We'd love to take phone calls tonight. So here's how this works. When this clock starts, where you're going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes to drop a donation. Whatever that donation is, we will go that much longer. You have to say save the show. So when we start that clock, we're going to do the save the show tonight, and hopefully we take some calls because I want to hear your thoughts on Bare Knuckle, UFC, Bellator. A lot of stories tonight to get to.
Super
We got Cree with a solid donation.
What's up, JBH and the
What's up?
Mystical One?
What up?
Thoughts on the Jimmy Sweeney call out of Artem? The Celtic Warrior is a legit beast in BKB.
Yeah.
All right,
so
what do you think, Jess?
I had an article on that. I didn't pull it though.
You didn't pull it.
I didn't know if you guys would really want to talk about it or not, but yeah, I read the article. I have a feeling that at this point, a lot of people are going to start trying to call out Artem. So I don't know. It is what it is. I think they're going to put the best fight forward when it comes to Artem, and they're going to, they're going to do whatever's going to make them the most money.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I don't know if it's going to be anyone within Bare Knuckle. I think they're going to snoop around now. I think they're going to look around and see who's at the end of their contract at the UFC, like who just left, or Bellator, who is some sort of name that they can drop in there. I wish it could be a felony Charles Bennett, but we know that's not going to happen. Who knows? Who knows who's going to face Artem, but I'm looking forward to it. I am definitely looking forward to it because it is fun, man.
Yeah.
Bare Knuckle, the whole shtick of it, it's a good time. Now, you can complain about the actual main event, the last main event being not as good as the Jason Knight one, which it wasn't. But still, the juice is fun, man. The card itself was a good time, and I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, the clock has begun. Ladies and gentlemen, with 4 minutes on this clock, you can be a hero. You can save the show. You could extend the show with a donation. So, Jesse,
Yesy.
are you pumped for more show?
I'm always pumped for more show, Mom.
Well, hopefully they get saved.
Wonderful.
All right, Jesse, here we go. Let's get into one more story.
All right, well, you're going to love this one.
All right. I love stories.
All right, according to MMA Fighting,
Yes.
Henry Cejudo. I'll wait for you to get to your little picture there.
All right, hold
I
on
know
a
you like
second.
to
I'm
show them
clicking
the
I'm
picture.
clicking all the wrong shit. You're
All
making
right.
me nervous.
Oh, I'm sorry. Not to put you under any pressure.
You're making me really nervous.
All right, I'll just tell you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Henry Cejudo calls out pound-for-pound boxing king Vasyl Lomachenko.
So Henry Cejudo versus Lomachenko. I saw
Yes.
this and I started giggling a little bit. Like I
Well,
mean,
wait till you hear the exchange. I've got the tweets and everything, so don't worry.
all right.
All right.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Here's the deal. We're gonna let a cliffhanger because we only have 3 minutes left in the show, so someone has to
Oh
save
no!
it
All right.
to get
Well,
to
if we
that
don't,
story.
if we don't get to it, it's
But-
on the website.
Henry Cejudo versus Lomachenko. No way. Kevin from Chicago coming in with the deuce.
Save show open fo don't be a ho $2 cash money.
All right. That's 2 more minutes. Thank you, Kevin from
He
Chicago.
said, "Don't be a hoe. Save the show. Don't be a hoe."
Save the show, don't be a host. So $2 extending the show when that clock is up. Thank you, Kevin. You are wonderful.
Wonderful.
And if anyone jumps in before the clock is up, we will extend it even more. But thank you, Kevin. Very nice of you. All right, so
So do we talk about it?
Lomachenko
Yeah.
versus Henry motherfucking Cejudo.
Uh-huh.
And by the way, it looks like we are saving that show even longer because Vlad is coming in with a 10 spot. Holy shit. A savior. Vlad.
Save show. Let Ken call in.
There you go. It looks like Ken's going to call in too. There we go.
Ken
12
never calls in.
more. No, he calls in.
A long
12
time
minutes.
ago.
He'll call in. 12 minutes extended with 2 more minutes in the show. Can you extend it even more? Let's see if it happens. But Henry Cejudo
All right,
versus...
now we can talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, on Saturday night, Artem Lobov pulled off the impressive upset, winning a decision over former world champ Paulie Malignaggi, which we all saw. But Lobov's win did more than finally settle the feud between Malignaggi and Conor McGregor's camp. It also apparently inspired current champ Henry Cejudo. Not long after Lobov's victory, the UFC flyweight and bantamweight champ went onto Twitter and called for a match against boxing's current pound-for-pound king, Lomachenko. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, the first tweet from Henry Cejudo said this: Artem Lobov, 13-15 in MMA, former UFC fighter, wins by unanimous victory over Paulie Malignaggi, who's 36-8 in boxing, former world champion. What do you think an Olympic and UFC champ would do to boxing's? And he tagged Lomachenko. And then Lomachenko then responded. If you scroll down one more, he says, "Here's an example of how it will be." And then go ahead and play. This is what Lomachenko's prediction of how that fight will go.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So Lomachenko.
Of course, don't tell that to Cejudo. Aside from calling out Lomachenko, the Olympic gold medalist has been calling for a shot with featherweight title. His appetite for gold seemingly knows no bounds, and in response to Lomachenko's dismissal of him, Cejudo fired back, referencing the only man to defeat Lomachenko in boxing, Orlando Salido. So if you scroll down one more, he posted a tweet, said, quote, "We all know what happened the last time you fought a Mexican warrior. Whose hand got raised again? Hashtag bend the knee."
There you go. All right. Listen, I love what Henry Cejudo is doing. In 35 seconds left in the Save Us show. Thank you. We're going to be going 12 more minutes. We got another super chat over here. Drunk Savage dropping a 5.
Save show and stuff.
And
Wonderful,
stuff.
wonderful.
Thank you, Drunk Savage, with 23 seconds in. Holy shit.
We're at 17 now.
17 more minutes. Thank you, guys. I appreciate the generosity. 17 more minutes of showtime. We will be opening up the phone lines. And everyone in the chat say thank you to our donators. You are
Gracias.
all wonderful,
Wonderful,
wonderful.
wonderful.
Now, realistically, a match between the two is incredibly unlikely, not the least because Cejudo won't be fighting anytime soon. The UFC champ suffered a tear in his shoulder that required surgery and will be out until 2020.
All right, so here we go. Let's go 17 more minutes. Colby Covington. Jimmy Crickets, what's up?
More hottie, less speedy.
Yeah, I know. There should be more me and less Jesse. I agree.
Sorry, I gotta shave this beard.
I agree. Thank you for the donation. And I guess we'll add it, right? Why not?
That wasn't to save the show.
That's all right.
All
We'll
right.
throw it on there. We're feeling frisky. We want to get those calls.
22
so here
minutes.
we go. Let's go 22 more minutes. Thank you, friends. Appreciate the generosity. 22 more minutes. Here we go. All right, so let's get ready to open up the phone lines over here. Thank you to all the donations tonight. And we will talk about the situation. Bare Knuckle versus Artem versus Paulie.
Mm-hmm.
We had UFC this weekend.
Bare Knuckle.
We had
Bellator.
We had a whole bunch of fun stuff. We also have the big fights this weekend too.
Yes,
So a lot
UFC
to
on
talk about.
ESPN 3 is this weekend.
All right, so let's open up the phone lines. As I do that, what's going on in the chat room?
That dude says future President Colby. Two Joint says LOL. Sean Nicebro. Life and Logic says Loms beats Mikey Garcia. Cree says there is no fighter that will beat Jones. I disagree. Johnny Walker. Kevin Chicago says nice. Anna says 22 more minutes. Sean Hart says sorry, 22 more minutes in the oven. Flatter Deacon says 516-522-0267. Give us a call. Two Joint says this hour has 22 minutes. Was a funny CBC show. Two Joint says 1-800-EAT shit.
All right, here we go. The phone lines are open. Call in. We want your thoughts on everything tonight that happened. We have the big fight this weekend, Jones versus Santos. I feel lopsided. Paulie Malignaggi versus Artem. Boxing loses. MMA wins. Wonderful, wonderful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And here we go.
Unknown caller, you're live with the MMA-holes. What's your name and what's on your mind?
Hello, this is Richard, and I'm calling from the Community Guidelines at YouTube Department. And now, MMA-holes, we've gotten some complaints about you lately, and I'm afraid we're going to have to shut down your channel.
Now, I could smell the alcohol through the phone right now. I am not sure. You better, community guidelines, you better slow down.
Mr. Moss, this is very serious.
Yes.
We received a lot of complaints, especially about your co-host, Miss Bellhill. Seems every time something called the 50 Like song is played, she openly mocks the mentally challenged with some hand gestures.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, what is that? What's that about?
That's how I
Yeah, we've
actually
been-
fist bump.
And we received many phone calls from a very angry woman who always seems out of breath, calling JBH a racist.
Yeah, it's a sad thing. You know what? I shut this channel down immediately. I give in. Hey, what's up, Drunk Savage? Live on the MMA-holes. Good to hear your voice.
Yeah. Good show tonight.
Thank you, my man. And fuck Luke Thomas, fuck Vox, fuck MMA fighting. Long live the MMA-holes.
Yep.
There you go.
Luke's got me cleaning up some jerk-off booths from now on.
Yes, glory holes. All right, Drunk. Thanks for the call, man.
Yeah. All right. Later.
All right, there he is. Drunk Savage. Look at that. 516-522-0267. The Savage getting in on us. Jesse, what do you think?
I mean, I recognize his voice instantaneously. Like, the moment he started speaking.
Hero Kenshiro Ryu, what's up?
Wonderful, wonderful.
Hey, Chris.
What's going on?
Oh, man. On a serious note, we haven't heard from Steve Johnson since the 11th. You know, I have his private number, me, Ben, like 10 of us. We talk to him every day, so the night he just went silent, he was on a huge drug binge. So we want everybody to say a prayer. I hope maybe at most he's probably in jail somewhere, but I think he probably passed away.
Would you like to lead us in prayer right now? Would you like to lead us in that?
Yes. I'm serious though. I think he died.
Yeah.
Stop it. He didn't die. Jesus.
All right, Ken. And you put some money on Lord Lobov, huh? You got the win?
Yeah, I got Jay. I got the Jay good plus 200. Wonderful. Thank God.
Thank God.
Good stuff. Well, Ken, it's good to hear your voice, and hopefully Steve gets better or comes back to
hope
life.
Everybody gives him a prayer. Hope he's at most in jail, but it's not looking good. I haven't heard from everybody.
He'll be okay. I have a good feeling he'll be okay.
Oh, we'll say a prayer tonight. All right, thank you, Ken.
Thank you.
516-522-0267. Make sure you say a prayer for Steve Johnson, please. Immediately.
We haven't heard from him. Thank God.
All right, get your calls in. Let me hear what you guys think about Bare Knuckle. Bellator this weekend. Musashi loses his belt. Holy shite. Unbelievable. We have the big Korean Zombie win. Korean Zombie, which, we probably should spend more time on. I mean, it's crazy. Fucking showed up.
Kevin from Chicago. What's on your mind, bud?
What's up? I got to talk about this Henry Cejudo thing real quick. I was on the Henry Cejudo train. I was full aboard. I was backing him. I was defending him, but he finally crossed the line. He crossed the line with this Lomachenko stuff.
Oh, hold on.
You can't stop the Siberian Express.
Got a donation coming in. This is Coon Culture.
Hello, openly gay caller. What are your thoughts on queer drag queens reading books to kids in libraries while distributing condoms near kids as well?
Now, I don't know who this is going to, but maybe it's going to Kevin. I'm not sure. But what do you think about that, Kevin?
Oh, that's just pure Jewish propaganda, as usual. Corrupting the youth, going against godly values, so no surprise there. But as far as Henry Cejudo goes, yeah, man, I can't defend him no more. I'm off the train. I really hope he gets knocked out. Because Lomachenko, man, it's just a complete bad look. I don't know if he's just trying to get attention any way possible. I mean, especially since he's freaking fresh out of surgery. He's going to be out until 2020. He's in there calling out Lomachenko. Like, he knows that fight's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And, like, you're not Conor McGregor, dude. You're not a draw. Like, you're a freaking 5'4" blockhead dwarf, and you're not a draw. And I was defending him for so long, but I can't defend him anymore. And I want to go through his wins recently. That Demetrius Mighty Mouse win. He squeaked past that win. And then he beat a TJ Dillashaw who was shriveled up, cutting weight. That EPO ain't going to protect your brain when you're cutting freaking 20 pounds or whatever it was, when he's not used to that. And then he beat Reyes. He was getting destroyed, and he's lucky that Reyes gassed out. Now, Peter Yan's not going to gas out. You better knock him out, because there's no way Peter Yan is going to gas out and fold. Aljamain Sterling's not going to freaking gas out and fold like Reyes either. So, Henry Cejudo, I was on the board, but you're just a total dickhead calling out Lomachenko like that.
There you
That's
go.
my call for today.
All right, Kevin. Thanks. There we go. Kevin from Chicago making some good points over there, talking about Lomachenko versus Cejudo, and he's off the wagon. I mean, this is, to me, a complete cringe move. Like, I don't think he's serious. I can't think he's serious, Jesse.
Listen, I think that it's all publicity, especially with BKFC going on now. You've got MMA fighters versus boxers, and everything's just kind of collaging now. So it was a smart move by him, honestly, because we're talking about him. So, congratulations to Cejudo for that, but I don't think he's serious.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I understand these fighters want to test themselves, and Cejudo has a little power in his hands, but let's be serious here. That fight's not happening. That is not, it is not happening. There's no way. Unless he's trying to set something up for down the road, where he can transition into boxing. It seems like a lot of MMA fighters want to go to boxing, and I can't blame them. They're going to get paid a hell of a lot more. Yeah. And look at Artem. He's making more money with bare knuckle boxing. So, I mean, if he's making this money in bare knuckle, God knows if he puts on the big gloves and gets inside the ropes. So, I can't knock him for trying. I'm not going to go crazy on this. I just don't buy it. I don't believe it. I think this is just this is just to get his name out there, like Jesse said. So that's why I'm going to go. All right, Jess, we're going to take some more phone calls. What's the number?
516-522-0267. Get in on the lines. Tell us what you think about the fights this past weekend for BKFC 6, UFC Fight Night 154, or Bellator 223, or what you think about the upcoming fights this weekend. UFC Minneapolis is coming up.
That's right. UFC Minneapolis. We have UFC 239 next weekend. So UFC Ngannou versus Dos Santos is a little, it's something to hold us over, right? It's something to hold us over. It's a good main event. The rest of the card's a little meh, but, it's free. So we're going to watch this. And then UFC 239 should be a real fun night. Really should be a good time. So I'm looking forward to that.
954, you're live with the MMA-holes. What's your name and what's on your mind?
JBH and Moss. This is Real.
Real. What's up?
Quick point I want to make about Chael Sonnen and Luke Thomas. Don't ever forget that John Jones ducked Chael P. Sonnen and refused to fight him on, I think it was 10 days' notice. How could you be the greatest fighter of all time and not be ready to fight Chael P. Sonnen on 10 days' notice? On top of that, all the steroids. I think what Luke said about Chael P. being a good fighter and not a great fighter was absolutely incorrect.
Well, no,
Name
but
one other.
Well, hold on one second and hold that point. But Jones destroyed Chael Sonnen. I was actually at that fight. He mutilated him.
Oh yeah. But remember, they were supposed to fight before that, and John Jones refused to fight him on short notice. He says, "I need a full camp for Chael P."
Okay.
He wouldn't fight him on 10 days' notice.
All right.
So that's what I'm referring to. When they actually fought, it wasn't even a competition. That even emphasizes my point even more because it was he made it look so easy. Why wouldn't he be able to step in on 10 seconds notice and be able to do the same thing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Chael P. Sonnen brought to the table. Anytime, any place, and he meant it. He would step in, fill in cards, fight anybody, anytime, any place, and that's what made him great. It's just good. It's a joke. I was loving that video, Chael P.
Yeah, well, I got to say this. The video that Chael put out, Real dropped it on a Discord, and we should put it on the MMAholes.com, too. If you missed it, check it out. Chael went crazy. He went absolutely crazy on Luke, and I think he had some good points in there. But when he started attacking Luke, saying he was jealous, and the MMA media was jealous, I was crying. I mean, I couldn't even believe it. I mean, he really went for it. I love it. He's going to beat him at their game now.
Yeah. And the way he looked at the camera at the end.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was good stuff. All right, Real.
All right, guys. Great show.
There you go. Real coming in. What did you think, man? Like, we were talking about it earlier, but
I didn't even think about that, to be honest. It's funny that he brings that point up because I honestly, that wouldn't have even crossed my mind.
What's that? The
whole Chael and Jones, I don't know. Like, I didn't even think about it.
Well, like I said before, I mean, I was in the building. John Jones broke his toe and destroyed Sonnen, finished him. And then Chael Sonnen, after the fight, says it was like fighting a bear. That's what he said. It was like fighting a bear. That's how strong John Jones was.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that point I'm not completely on board with Jones ducking Chael. I don't see that. But the video of Chael going back at Luke, is Chael the best fighter in the world? No, he's not the best fighter in the world, but he did leave a mark on the sport.
Yeah.
You know, on the mic and in the cage. The guy has a pretty decent resume.
See, but that's what I was just gonna say was, do you think that? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you think he's a great fighter and everything, but I saw a lot of people today, in both Luke Thomas's chat and Ariel Helwani's chat, talking about how he wasn't a great fighter. He was just great at talking. And that's what left his mark in MMA was his mouth, not his fists. So do you agree with that? Do you think that it was more of his trash talk kind of, like,
I think he was an above average fighter, I think. Because when I sat there and watched him against Anderson Silva the first time around, and he literally was winning that fight. If it wasn't for the very end and Anderson with the big comeback, I mean, Chael was dominating Anderson when Anderson was on top of his game. Chael was complete. Now, listen, this was the era of the steroids, but so was Anderson. Anderson got popped for steroids as well, so I can't say it anymore. If Anderson was clean, then I would be like, well, Chael's a steroid guy. But he was fighting in an era with other steroid guys. Yeah. So that whole steroid bullshit, I don't even want to hear it anymore. Yes, Chael did steroids. He fessed up to it. It is what it is. He got suspended, but so did majority of the other people on that roster. It doesn't make it right, but you can't criticize a guy that's doing something that everyone else is doing. You know, you can't celebrate Anderson and then look down on Chael. Is he the greatest of all time? No, I mean, but he's above average. The guy, he did what he had to do, and he will be remembered on the mic and in the cage. So good for Chael. Let's see what the chat says. I'm curious what they say about this as we open the phone lines again.
Ann H says, Fook, I don't agree with that at all. Chael's the beast.
All right, here we go.
Unknown caller, you're live with the MMA holes. What's your name and what's on your mind?
I got to get one last point in real quick. This weekend, what a bad combat sports weekend. The UFC was complete garbage. The bare knuckle boxing, that was complete garbage. Nothing about that. I mean, Artem Lobov getting the win, that was kind of funny, but other than that, the fight sucked. Nothing. I mean, you can tell Paulie was definitely past his prime and out of shape and not used to fighting bare knuckle boxing.
Hold on a second, we got a donation coming in. This is from Real EPO.
Greetings, openly beta caller. What are your thoughts on John Jones ducking Chael Sonnen, refusing to fight him on short notice to save the card? The card ended up being cancelled. This was a big deal when it happened. Jones ducked Chael.
This is all right. This is coming from the same guy that dogs Conor McGregor and never turns down a fight. So, I don't know. Anyway, what do you think about that? John Jones ducking Chael Sonnen.
I can't really fault him for that. You got to prepare for a main event fight. Just taking a fight at short notice is. I mean, you look at any of the top boxers; they don't do that. They're not going to take a fight on 10 days' notice, risking that much money, and you got to prepare for a freaking world title fight. So I'm not going to fault him with that. I'm going to fault him for the steroid abuse. You can't be the greatest of all time at steroid abuse. But other than that, I got to talk about this weekend real quick.
Yeah.
The fights, they just sucked, man. Did you watch the UFC? I feel like there's no meaningful fights. That main event, it's like, Korean Zombie won, but what's he going to do now? He's coming off a knockout loss against Yair Rodriguez. And what's he going to do? Just jump past Yair Rodriguez and fight for a number one contender fight? That's not going to happen. And the rest of the cards sucked. I feel like that's where Joe Silva made his mark. The prelims, he was the master at making prelim fights, and he put on really good prelim fights. I mean, watching that Matt Wyman get destroyed by that young dude, I mean, that was just a bad look. So.
All right. What the fuck just happened?
Yeah, that was just the bad luck. But otherwise, and the boxing fight, I watched boxing fight. That was terrible too.
Mm.
But what are you gonna do? Take it easy.
Where is he on a payphone? What is he? Does he call us on a burner phone or a
sometimes he calls and it recognizes his number. We know who he is, and other times it calls in as unknown caller. It's like he has two different phones.
I think a drug deal just happened in the middle of his phone call. I don't know what happened. But yeah, Korean Zombie. Okay, so he did lose to Yair Rodriguez. That did happen, but Korean Zombie was winning that fight. Like he got caught. Let's see. He's sitting at number 12. Wednesday, this will change up a little bit. He'll go up the rankings. I think if you give him another fight and he knocks the fuck out of somebody, he's right back in the mix. So I didn't hate it. 580, you're live with the MMA-holes. What is your name and what is on your mind?
My name is Jeremy. I just wanted to thank the announcement that Conor's going to fight in 2019, and who do y'all think he would fight?
Huh.
Can you just lower the background real quick? Because we hear the feedback. What do you think, Jess?
I think what's going to happen is one of two things. I think they're going to give Ferguson the winner of Poirier versus Khabib, and then probably toss Conor in there somewhere. Since Cerrone was suspended indefinitely, I mean, that kind of defeats those options. It would be nice to see him fight Gaethje, because I think that would be an extremely entertaining fight, and then see him move up from there, because I don't think giving him in the main event would be logical. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think what they're going to do is they're probably going to hand him either the winner of Poirier Khabib, because it's a money draw. But what I'd like to see is Gaethje.
Yeah, I definitely think Tony Ferguson should get it before him, but you know how the UFC works.
Yeah, it's a crapshoot. Who knows? Anything else?
I just want to say happy birthday to my dad Jerry.
Happy birthday, Jerry.
All right, man. Be good. Happy birthday to Jerry.
You can't stop the Siberian Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
We got Real coming in.
How the fuck can you be the GOAT if you need Chael P for a quote good fighter? Never forget that Jones ducked Chael and shut down an entire fight card because of it, taking money out of lots of fighters' pockets. Goats don't duck Chael.
It's the new thing. By the way, Real, thank you for the donation. And he made his point. But I watched a little bit of the beginning of Will Harris, the Anatomy of a Fighter guy, Real's good friend, is on Joe Rogan's show. So good for you. I mean, that was good stuff. Will Harris is doing great right now. He's got some interesting stories. And he said, and I got to watch the rest of this. He said when he first saw Kamaru Usman, he thought he was a bum.
Yeah.
He that's the exact words from Will Harris. He says he thought Kamaru Usman was a bum because he was getting just thrown around and cracked by Michael Chandler in the gym. So I think Real will get a kick out of that. Check that out. And if you guys are familiar with Anatomy of a Fighter or not, check out Will Harris. He's awesome. Anatomy of a Fighter, and he's on Joe Rogan Experience. I'll probably be watching that after this, so good on him. All right, thank you to the donations tonight. Jesse, we have 2 minutes and 51 seconds
Oh, my goodness.
left in the show. I guess we'll take one more call. What do you say?
All right.
Sure. Oh, what's up, Dowd Hicks? Welcome.
Wonderful.
Might as well subscribe to this because the MMA hour is gone. The MMA beat's gone. But the MMA holes are here. Ba-ba-ba-ba.
Wonderful.
By the way, 83 likes. We get to 100 likes. We beat the shit out of the ceiling again. So make sure you like this video. Let's beat the fuck out of the ceiling one more time. We'll be back on Wednesday. Contender Series fighter Justin Sumter will be back. Friend of the show. We'll be talking to him about his rebirth. And hopefully he can get another shot at the UFC. Ian Heinisch stopped him in his tracks. Let's see if he can bounce back in his next fight. All right, Jesse, one more call.
One more call.
516-522-0267. And Conor coming back, yeah, I mean, he is going to come back. I do believe he is. It's just a matter of who is he going to fight. God knows. I mean, it is. We've been throwing names out there for a while, and it's kind of like, all right, let us know now because there's just so many situations that we can put together, and Justin Gaethje is a good option. All right, here we go.
818, you're live with the MMA holes. What's your name and what's on your mind?
Henry, I had a great time with Korean Zombie. So,
I bet.
I guess since we're all Asian fans here, I just wanted to point out how to properly say his name. The Asians reverse their names around. So Chan is actually his last name.
Huh.
And I believe Jung is actually his first name. So, if you ever hear people chanting Jung. So I had a great time with that as the comeback from Yair. So that's my 2 bits.
Nice.
There you go. Thank you for the call. By the way, I heard that the Korean Zombie actually changed his name to Zombie. His last name to Zombie.
I heard
Is that true?
So I don't know where I heard that from. I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't say it on his thing over here, but listen, he's back in the mix. He's back in the mix. The Korean Zombie back in the mix, and it was a big win for him. You can see the emotion in his face. And by the way, Henry Solstice, who just called in, won on BetDSI, put it in on the Korean Zombie. I was like, that was a good pick. That was a really good pick.
Drunk Savage did the more you know. Bum, bum, bum.
All right. Here we go. One more donation coming in with 22 seconds left on the clock. Thank you for extending the show. Jesse, you pumped for the Wednesday?
I'm pumped for the Wednesday. I'm pumped for tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, Contender Series. That's right.
Yeah.
Real.
Smart guy Henry. You bet my picks on Yellow Zone.
There you go. Wonderful. Thank you, Real.
So don't forget, guys, we're going to be live tomorrow for Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series. I know it's easy to forget because we're usually only live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but we will be live for the Tuesdays of the Contender Series. So tomorrow, who do we have on the card tomorrow? That's an MMA hole.
Richie Santiago. I got the pleasure of interviewing 3 years ago, and a little less than 3 years ago, at Premier FC, and he was an unknown walking around, and everyone's like, watch out for this kid. He's going to be all right. And this is, I don't know if Michael Anzalone can find this. This is a little back. But now he's fought all over. I think he's fought in LFA. He's fought in CES. He's fought all over the place. And now he's in the Contender Series, and he looks very good. He's super strong on the ground. So, and he's a finisher. So let's see. Maybe Richie Santiago can get the win. What number of Contender Series are we at? Do you know, Jess?
Season 3.
Let's see.
Episode 2.
Let me just look at this and see if I recognize anyone else. It's kind of cool this year. We know a lot of fighters on the cards. And a gentleman from CES just was the only one to get through last week.
Week 2.
So that's actually pretty cool. Let's take a look. Wonderful. Now these are relatively unknown people. So we're learning about fighters. And here he is, Richie Santiago. He's 7-1-0. So
Hi, Ma.
there we go. Richie Santiago over here. And this is Alton Cunningham versus Tony Johnson is the main event. So there we go. Mom's in the chat. What up, Mom? Mom in the chat. Everyone say
You came too late. We're about to end the show.
That's it. All right. So here we go. We are done for this show. Thank you for watching. JBH, say those magical words and let's get the fook out of here.
Don't be an a-hole. Be an MMA hole.